discipline, you mentioned you get questions about how do I get into testing or how do I become the best tester. We are recruiting testers all our time ourselves, as part of our software platform. And you mentioned that sometimes the discipline is seen as an easier path, or maybe it's, if you're not good enough to be a programmer, then you become a tester, or something like that. So where in actual fact, finding a really good tester is really hard. So in your opinion, what are the characteristics of a good tester?
So one of the issues one of the things that's hard about that question is that the temptation is to focus on the attributes that are not related to testing, right? Because one of the attributes that makes a good tester is that they're good at testing. So they've studied testing. They understand what testing is and what it's for. But in order to really do that, you have to understand software development to know where testing fits in. So for me, a good tester is one that is wanting to study software development. And personally, part of the reasons for there's so many stories behind evil tester, right? So I could keep giving you reasons why evil testers are, but one of the reasons is I started as a programmer, and I've been interested in software development, and I view myself as a software developer, and I aspire to being able to do all the different roles and aspects and processes within software development. Testing is where I'm most known. And I like testing because it feeds into all of those different areas and gives me the chance to do all of those things. So the skill set of wanting to embrace software development in total is really important, I think, because otherwise you tend to get narrow focused in on just a testing role. And that can be very hard, because then that can have a tendency to isolate people, when what we are trying to do is spread across the entire project. So a deep understanding of feedback mechanisms, cybernetics, systems, software development in total, the processes, the history of software development for all the techniques that are involved, then moving beyond those. So this is hard for people who are beginners to listen to, right? Because what I'm expressing is the totality of what it takes to really be in software testing, because the techniques that we start with then move you out into math. So we've got things like boundary value analysis, which then moves you into set theory. We have paths going through systems, which then moves you into graph theory. Right? We have to try and work out how much data do we need, which takes you into probability theory. Right? There's math involved in this, which you don't have to go into depth, but it's something else we should be interested in. There's a lot of technical information and studies that are required in there that when you go into it in depth come through. And so also that tenacity to see things through. We want people to have develop an attitude of being able to communicate directly when people don't want to hear the information that you have to convey. It's not necessarily the right role for people who want to be liked all the time, right? There has to be the ability to challenge people, but challenge people with evidence, challenge people with the right language for that person such that they take notice. So there is a lot of, I guess people would call it social skills, but for me, I didn't learn them from social skills. I learned them by studying psychotherapy and the language that therapists use in order to challenge people. And what you also get when people answer that question are my biases. Those are the things that I think are important because I had to develop those throughout my career. So I'm ignoring all the things that I came in with as default because I'm focusing on the things that I had to develop. So
let me just see if I understand it correctly. They've got to be an architect, a programmer, have understanding of testing skills related to automation and the like. They have to be a psychoanalyst and a good communicator. It's a tough combination of skills to be a tester.
But also, you don't need that at the start. Right, you can develop these skills over time.
Yeah, we're talking about the holy grail here. I think it's unusual to find anyone with those combinations.
Also, you don't need all of those skills, right? Yeah. Because the whole reason we create teams is that we expect the team to have all those skills. So we bring in someone on a tester role because they have some of the skills that are missing from the team for some of those aspects, and hopefully they all unify together. If you don't have the team building skills, hopefully someone else on your team does, to help pool all those skill sets together. That's also why we have scrum masters and managers. Hopefully they have those skills. But to give yourself maximum flexibility, because my job has required maximum flexibility because I've moved from different roles, different companies doing consultancy. So I've needed to develop that maximum flexibility. If you're working on one team building one thing, focus on the skill sets that are important for that team, and focus on the skill sets that are in general missing from that team at the moment in order to maximize the value that we can bring to it.
When you're consulting